Hello and welcome to another video by My Retro Computer. My name is Sean Donahue and today we're not doing a build. We'll talk about a few things. It's going to be a very short video, just a little catch up and just to explain a few things. One thing we'll talk about is the ITX adapter kit, the ongoing saga that is, considering I placed the orders for most of the stuff in January, including the actual plates, and we still haven't got them yet. But anyway, so without further ado, before I go any further, today in the UK is Father's Day, and I promised my daughter I would wear this top for this video. So this is why I've got a very colourful top on, because it's Father's Day, and this was a gift from my daughter this morning, so I've got that in. So before we go any further, I want to show you the rear of the the My 64 case with the Pi My ITX adapter kit in place. You can see the back of this. It's pretty good. Now if I turn it sideways on so you can get a sort of like more of a 3D effect, you can actually see here's the full-size SD card, and I'm going to stop talking and shut up for a sec so you can actually hear the click. Ready? So that is fantastic. So I'm really chuffed about how it's come together. So from the beginning, when we had it on the side, now it's on the rear, and I'm really happy about that, and I'm thankful for the person that actually mentioned that really it should have been on the back. So I'm really happy about that. So the other thing is, because that's missing, we now have two USB 3s on the side. Well, we had that anyway, but there's more room now, so it looks better. Now if I zoom in a little bit with this, come in, you can see it's got two vent plates. So obviously for the Raspberry Pi, the vent plate is going to be completely useless, but what I thought is we could offer those plates for regular PC enthusiasts, but instead of a USB connection on the end, it will have the USB 3 header that can plug into the ITX motherboard. So we will offer those plates for people that want to do that, and obviously they would still have to find a means for the PICU power to be, plugged in, probably on the back, on the I/O shield. You'd have to drill a hole, yeah, that's the only way to do it. So if you don't use the regular plate with the hole in and you want to use this plate, then obviously you're going to have to find another way to put a hole in it. But so that's the ITX part of it out of the way. What else I'm going to talk about? When I was at college in 2010, 11, 12, towards the end of the course, we had to do a project, and I've talked about this before, and I forgot all about this because I was rummaging through some old things the other day, tidying up and trying to make room, and I forgot that I did this. So this is a power supply, a Commodore 64 power supply. So you can see. So what I did was, this was a power supply that I think I've had this since childhood, and it didn't work. So I decided to take the inside transformer out, which was a job in itself, and convert this and use a laptop power brick, put it inside, and this could power the Commodore 64 that I did for my presentation way back in 2012. So I just wanted to show it to you close up. So the back end is the kettle connection, and then we have the side connection, which is on the other end of this, is what plugs into the PICU PSU. So what I had was the converted original Commodore 64. So this would have been a Commodore 64 from 1982, 1983. That was converted to be able to use the ITX, mini ITX form factor, and then I had this power brick powering it basically at a presentation with everyone watching me show how to use it. I had it booting between, we were using the Grub installer boot manager, and we were booting between Windows 8 or whatever it was, OS X and Linux. So it was booting between the three. So you had a grub menu come up, and it was a graphical boot menu, and it showed you the three different operating systems, and you picked which one you wanted. It was fantastic how I did it, and I really enjoyed doing it. And I wish I could do it now, but the trouble is, a dual boot that is, the trouble is Windows or Microsoft has stopped people doing it, because now, at the time you could get away with doing it, but now in Windows 10 they've done something. So every time, so if you had Linux and you had Windows running, whenever there's a big sort of like service patch that comes down on patch Wednesday, it would rewrite the bootloader and basically stop Linux from booting again. So it was, even if it was on a different hard drive, so it ruined being able to dual boot like that. You can dual boot between Linux, different versions of Linux, or BSD, or dare I say it, OS X, but you can't, if you've got Windows on there, at some point Windows will just screw it all up. So anyway, the other thing I wanted to show you, which I really completely forgot about because I didn't do it in the presentation because it wasn't ready, is I decided at the time I wanted to have three things. I wanted to have the Commodore 64, I wanted to have the power supply, and I wanted to have what looked like the tape deck but was in actual fact an external hard drive. What I wanted to be able to do is, at the time, so if you think back to those times 10 years ago, they were just coming out with docks, external hard drive docking stations, which was brilliant, and that gave me the idea. And what I wanted to be able to do was be able to hot swap, press the eject button, this would lift up, slide out a 2.5-inch hard drive and slot in another one, you know, and that's what I wanted to do, but it didn't work how I wanted it to. I mean, I think this is a brilliant idea to be able to have a hard drive dock in the shape of a tape deck. I think it's brilliant, but I think now you'd want to plug them in on the top, and maybe that's something that we could do later on, maybe through a crowdfunding campaign or something. I think it would be a brilliant idea. Now, obviously these wouldn't do anything, they'd just be for aesthetics, but I think it would be great. But if I show you this close up, you can actually see the 2.5-inch hard drive. It's not a solid state, that's a mechanical hard drive. And then on the side, this way, you can see we've got the USB plug, we've got the power, so it's externally powered. And yeah, it was USB 3 then as well. It's been a while, I forgot all about this, but it's, you know, ideally when I was doing the presentation I wanted to be able to have all three, so it's a complete modern but retro computer. But this wasn't finished at the time. I mean, it's finished now, but at the time when I did it, I can't remember what wasn't finished about it. Something wasn't working, and I couldn't bring it to the presentation, so I was pretty gutted about that. But that's that. And then one last thing before we go, I just wanted to explain about how we build the actual cases, because if there's other people out there that are doing this type of thing, and these are mass produced in China, so you can imagine the production lines they've got going in China building things like this. Well, obviously it's not like that how we're doing it, but I just wanted to let you know that when these are brought into being, they're enshrouded in retroness. And what do I mean by retroness? I mean, we put films on, or we put TV shows on. For instance, we've gone through Doctor Who, we've gone through all the John Pertwees, and we've gone through all the Tom Bakers building these retro cases, watching them, and you kind of forget, you know, it takes your mind off what you're doing, especially if it's repetitive things. And you just watch and you get engrossed in them, and sometimes it brings back memories from when I was a kid hiding behind the sofa. We watched one a couple of weeks ago where it involved a giant rat, and it just brought back memories in the sewers and I actually remember hiding behind the sofa when this giant rat appeared. It was brilliant. We've also watched, in building these cases, Tarzan. Now, in a way, this isn't sort of like in the era of the Commodore 64 or the VIC-20, because Tarzan, the TV show, was was an American TV show in the late 60s, but I don't think it was aired until the 70s in the UK. And it was, if anyone knows him, he's Indiana Jones. I mean, the guy, his name's Ron Ely, and he was Tarzan in the 60s, and he also did a film in the 70s, which it wasn't brilliant, but it was basically Indiana Jones. I mean, this guy is a superstar that never was really. I mean, some of the stuff, but I must admit, what was it called? Doc Savage. Doc Savage. I'd advise anyone that's never heard of it, watch Doc Savage, because even though it's not as good and it's a little bit gimmicky, absolutely brilliant film. But anyway, so getting back on track, everything we do here is we listen and watch different things and bringing these into being. And I know it's a silly thing, but it's just worth knowing, you know what I mean, that there's a lot of love that goes into every single one of these being built. It's not mass produced, it's just in a little workshop, and you know, anyone that buys one will appreciate the build quality, and also all the comments we get and all the views and people saying how good it is. You know, if you can spread the word. You know, the more people that know about it, the better. I mean, it's so hard to get the word out so people know about us. I didn't realise how hard it would be, but it really is. You know, hard work getting the word out. There's so many people that's come to our site, bought a case and said, you know, I've never heard of you, I thought I've known about this 6 months ago, and things like that. And you know, so, you know, all I can say is please subscribe and, you know, tell everyone about us and what we're about. What else? Is there anything else I was going to say? I can't think of anything. I mean, as soon as we get these kits in, I think I've said it before, we're offering them first off to people that have actually bought a case. So I'll probably run out before we get to put these on the website. But when we've got the money back in from the first lot, I'll place another order, and hopefully this order will come in a lot quicker than the last order. Everything's in place. And we don't have to, nothing has to be designed anymore. It's just a matter of placing the order. And the biggest bottleneck will be the UK steel company that actually makes the components, these steel components. It's a big company, and they make lots of metal cases, bespoke cases for, you know, all sorts of things. Not, you know, computer, but it might not necessarily be a tower case, but it'll be something to do with retail shopping and stuff like that. But they're flat out all the time, and I'm small fry to them. So I'm in there and I'm asking for 100 plates to start with, and it's costing a lot of money for the 100 plates, costing a lot of money for designing it and all that. And then they get an order in for 10,000 whatevers, and I keep on getting put to the side because they're flat out getting a massive order in. It's annoying because I've put my order in months and months and months ago. But hopefully this will be done and dusted within the next couple of weeks. I'll have the first 100 in, and then I can place an order. Well, I've actually already placed an order for another 500, but they've already told me it's going to be 12 weeks. So it is what it is. The company is, I know I've had a bad experience, but the company is, what they do is unbelievable. It's absolutely fantastic. The quality of some of the things that they make is outstanding. So even though the experience for me hasn't been that good, the quality of what they produce is outstanding. You know, I can't say any more than that. There is something else I wanted to say, but I haven't got one right here now, and that is, I might be able to show you with this. People have been talking about, if I get this, I don't think I'm going to be able to get this in the right light, but there's, if I turn this around the other way, let's do it that way. We've got, where is it? Posts, 1, 2, 3 posts, and you might be able to see an indentation in the shine, and people think it's because of screws being screwed in too tight and all things like that. It's got nothing to do with the screws. It's got to do with I might have even covered this on a video before, I can't remember now, but it's got to do with plastic shrinking. So as the plastic's injected into the mould, like the thinner plastic cools down quicker than a bit of thick plastic. So the thick plastic cools down at a slower rate, and when this happens and it shrinks more, because there's more of it, it can shrink a bit more. You get shrinkage and you get a little dip where the post is underneath. And where we've just had new cases pressed by our injection moulder in the UK, they've changed, because when they were pressed in America, I think how the injection moulder has explained it to me is, if you're doing the process and the moulds come together, so they come together, they inject the plastic, and then it basically comes apart, and then the plastic piece drops out. If they, in the closed process, what they're supposed to do is hold it closed for a few seconds, so that it's basically, in a sense, it's like an engine block, and it's got holes in it for cold water to run round to cool the plastic down, to cool the metal down, cool the plastic down, so it becomes a solid, so that it can part and the trapped plastic will drop out. Well, what they're supposed to do is hold it together for a few seconds before they open it up and let the plastic drop out, because that cools the plastic down at the same rate, and you tend not to get shrinkage where the thicker plastic parts are. Well, all I can say is all the cases that we had pressed in America, the shrinkage was quite pronounced, and you could see it. Well, on the cases that are pressed in the UK, there's shrinkage there still, but it's to an absolute minimum. You can only just about see it. So it's completely different from the American experience. So, you know, I'm not knocking the American company that did it. They did a fantastic job. It's just that maybe they had it, you know, they were doing it, producing more per hour or whatever. So for argument's sake, say in the States they're producing 200 an hour, and in the UK are producing 150 an hour. That's where, you know, obviously the Yanks are saving money, but you're getting that little indentation. In the UK, they refuse to do that anyway. It's a set time, and that's what they do it to. But I mean, the actual process for me was more expensive than America, but by the time you factor in the shipping, it was cheaper. You know, because I didn't have to worry about the shipping, because it's, for me, it's within driving distance. It's only like 30-40 miles down the road, so I could drive there and pick them up or get them delivered, and it didn't cost much, whereas the shipping was thousands. So that's where the saving was on those. So yeah, I think I've said everything. I've tried to keep this to a small video because we weren't building anything, but to give you an insight as to what we do here. And yeah, you know, thanks everyone for watching these videos and giving me confidence to carry on doing it. And I hope I'm a good conveyor now. I'm getting more confident as I do these videos. But thank you very much for watching this. Please subscribe, give us a huge thumbs up. I'll try to reply to everyone that comments. I'll try to reply in a timely manner, and I enjoy it. But thanks very much for watching. Bye.